My child, you finally did it. I told you, and here you are. I have been waiting for hours for you to receive this moment, watching every hesitation, every time your finger hovered, every doubt that whispered for you to leave. And if you walk away now, you will miss what you have been begging me for in the quiet places of your heart. The thing you cried about when no one could hear you. The answer you asked for again and again when you thought I was silent. Do not skip this. This message is not appearing by accident, not rising before your eyes because of chance or timing alone. You have been crying for an answer, sometimes with words, sometimes with nothing but a heavy sigh, and I am speaking now, directly to you. I am not sending another sign after this to convince you to stay. This moment itself is the sign. I interrupted your day on purpose. I slowed your steps on purpose. I pulled your attention here on purpose, because what I am about to say cannot wait for another day, another night, or another season of doubt. This is the message you have been desperately seeking. You searched for it in people, in explanations, in late nights filled with thoughts that would not rest. You asked me, is this it? Is this all there is? Am I forgotten? Am I too late? Did I miss it? Stay with me until the end, because what I reveal last will change everything you thought you understood about your life, your waiting, and your future. Do not let impatience steal what perseverance has brought you to. Do not let fear talk you out of what faith carried you into. I know you are tired. I know there is a part of you that almost skipped this because you have been disappointed before. You have listened to words that promised comfort but left you empty. You have hoped before, only to feel foolish when nothing changed. And so you guarded your heart, telling yourself not to expect too much, not to believe too deeply. But hear me now. I am not speaking to entertain you. I am not speaking to fill time. I am speaking because you are standing at the edge of something holy, and if you rush past it, you will wonder later why your heart feels unsettled again. You did not arrive here by scrolling mindlessly. You did not arrive here because you were bored. You arrived here because your spirit has been restless, because something inside you has been whispering that there must be more than surviving, more than repeating the same cycles, more than carrying the same weight day after day. That whisper was me. It had been me all along, calling you gently, then urgently, then unmistakably, until you finally stopped long enough to listen. I have been waiting for you, not because I was delayed, not because I was unaware, but because there is a moment when the heart is finally ready to hear what the ears have heard many times before but never truly receive. I watched you try to stay strong when you felt weak. I watched you smile when your heart felt heavy. I watched you pray and then question your own prayers, wondering if they even mattered. And still, I waited patiently, because I knew the hour would come when you would pause and say, even if only in your heart, I need you to speak now. This is that hour. Do not underestimate what is happening right now. Heaven is not frantic, but it is attentive. Your life is not overlooked, but it is being carefully addressed. The very fact that you are still here, still listening, is proof that something in you knows this is different. You feel it in the way your thoughts have slowed, in the way your chest feels tight and open at the same time. That is not emotion alone. That is recognition. That is your spirit realizing that it is being spoken to by the one who knows it completely. I know there is a voice inside you saying, "What if this is just words again?" I know there is another voice saying, "Stay, just in case." Listen to the second one. That is wisdom. That is hunger. That is the part of you that refuses to settle for silence when I am offering clarity. You have spent too long trying to figure everything out on your own, carrying questions that were never meant to be answered by logic alone. Some things are only understood when the heart is quiet enough to receive them. Say you are my peace, Jesus, in every storm if He calms your fears and carries you through. I am asking you for something very simple right now. Stay with me. Not with your guard up, not with your expectations crushed, but with a willingness to listen as if this truly is for you. Because it is. I did not gather your tears just to ignore them. I did not hear your prayers just to delay without purpose. I did not bring you this far just to leave you standing at the door. You have been afraid of missing what I have for you, and that fear has been justified because there are moments that matter more than others. This is one of them. Not because of pressure, but because of alignment. Something is aligning right now between what you have been asking for and what I am ready to reveal. If you rush past it, you will feel the echo of this moment later, wondering why peace slipped through your fingers again. You are not weak for needing reassurance. You are not foolish for wanting confirmation. You are human, and you are deeply loved. That is why I am speaking to you this way, slowly, clearly, firmly. I am not shouting, but I am not whispering either. I am meeting you right where you are, at the exact level of urgency your heart requires. Stay until the end. Not because I demand it, but because you deserve to hear the full truth. Partial listening has kept you confused for too long. Half answers have left you second-guessing yourself. This time, I want you to receive the whole message from beginning to end, so that when you stand up from this moment, something inside you will be settled in a way it has not been before. You finally did it. You stopped. You listened. You stayed. And because you did, everything that follows will make sense in time. Just stay with me a little longer. I am about to speak to the very thing you thought no one understood. You did not arrive here by accident. I need you to hear this slowly and clearly, because your mind is still trying to explain this away, to label it coincidence, timing, or habit. But I tell you the truth. The moment you arrived at this message was planned long before you ever felt the weight you are carrying now. I saw this moment before your questions grew loud, before your nights grew restless, before you began wondering why your heart felt unsettled even when everything around you seemed normal. I was already watching. I was already waiting. I know how you almost kept scrolling. I saw the hesitation in you, the brief pause where you thought, I'll listen later, where this probably isn't for me, where I've heard things like this before. That hesitation did not offend me. It revealed how tired you have become from hoping and being disappointed. You have learned to protect yourself from expectation because expectation once hurt you. But even in that pause, even in that doubt, I was gently holding your attention, not forcing you, not frightening you, simply inviting you to stay. You did not stay because of pressure. You stayed because something deeper than logic recognized my voice calling you. This interruption was intentional. I did not barge into your life loudly. I slipped into your moment quietly, because that is how I know you would listen. Fear was never needed to hold you here. Urgency does not have to shout. Sometimes it simply stands still in front of you and waits for your heart to catch up. That is what this moment is. I am not rushing you, but I am asking you not to rush past me. You have been asking for clarity, even when you did not know how to phrase the question. You have been sensing that something matters right now, that time feels heavier, more meaningful, as if a door is nearby and you are afraid of missing it. That feeling did not come from anxiety alone. It came from awareness. It came from your spirit recognizing that you are standing in a moment that carries weight, not because of danger, but because of direction. I want you to understand something deeply. I did not choose you because you were perfect, prepared, or confident. I chose you because you were willing to listen. I saw your weariness, but I also saw your sincerity. I saw the way you kept going even when you did not feel strong. I saw how you questioned yourself, replayed conversations, wondered if you were doing enough, being enough. And instead of turning away, you kept searching. That search brought you here. Please support our channel. Our work is dedicated to bringing happiness into your life and nurturing devotion to God. If you would like to support our efforts, you can donate through Super Thanks. I have been watching you longer than you realize. I saw you when you laughed and when you were quiet. I saw you when you felt surrounded and when you felt alone. I saw you scroll past many things without feeling anything at all. And I saw the moment when your heart slowed at this one. That slowing was not random. That was recognition. That was a part of you that knows me responding before your mind could interfere. Do not tell yourself that anyone could have received this message. This moment was shaped for you. Your history, your questions, your timing, your wounds, your hopes all met right here, right now. That is not coincidence. That is alignment. That is destiny unfolding quietly, without drama, without spectacle, but with great significance. I know doubt is still whispering. It tells you not to take this too seriously, not to let your heart lean in too far. It warns you against disappointment. I am not angry with that doubt. I understand why it exists, but I am asking you to set it down for a moment, not forever, just for now, and let me speak to you without interruption. You can pick your questions back up later. Right now, you are safe to listen. I have been preparing this moment the same way I have been preparing you. Slowly, intentionally, with patience. There were things I could not say to you earlier because they would have sounded like noise instead of truth. There were moments you were not ready to hear because your heart was still protecting itself from pain. But look at you now. You are still here, still listening, still open enough to receive something new. That is why this moment exists. You are not late. You are not behind. You did not miss your chance. If you had, you would not be here. This moment is proof that nothing essential has passed you by. What is meant for you had been waiting for you to arrive in the right posture, not rushed, not forced, but present. And now you are present. I am not asking you to change everything immediately. I am not demanding decisions or dramatic action. I am simply asking you to acknowledge that this moment matters, that your life is not on autopilot, that there are points along the path where I step closer and say, pay attention now. This is one of those points. I have not been distant from you. Even when you felt far from me, I was near. Even when you questioned my silence, I was working beneath the surface, arranging things you could not yet see. I was not ignoring your prayers. I was answering them in a way that required timing, not haste. And now that timing has brought you here, let this truth settle in you. I know your name. I know your story. I know why you are here. And I am not surprised by any of it. This moment did not catch me off guard. I have been waiting for it, watching the pieces come together, knowing the exact second when you would finally stop and listen without rushing away. You are not being singled out to be burdened. You are being singled out to be guided. There is a difference. I am not placing weight on you. I am offering direction. I am not warning you of danger. I am inviting you into awareness. Urgency does not always mean something bad is about to happen. Sometimes it means something important is ready to begin. Stay with me here. Let the noise quiet. Let the urge to multitask fall away. You do not need to understand everything yet. You only need to remain present. What you need next will be revealed step by step, not all at once, because trust grows in movement, not in overload. You did not arrive here by chance. You arrived because you were called. And I do not call without purpose. I do not interrupt without intention. I do not wait without love. This moment was prepared for you, and you were prepared for this moment. Now breathe. You are exactly where you need to be. I have been watching you longer than you know. Longer than the nights you remember crying yourself to sleep. Longer than the days you told yourself to be strong and just get through it. Longer than the questions that formed in your heart before you ever dared to speak them out loud. There was never a moment when you slipped past my attention. Never a second when your pain blended into the background of the world and became invisible to me. Even when you learned how to hide it well, even when you smiled and said you were fine, I saw what was underneath. I saw the weight you carried into quiet rooms. I saw the way your shoulders dropped when no one was looking. I saw the exhaustion that words could not explain. You cried tears that never reached another person's awareness, but every one of them reached me. There were nights when you felt foolish for crying because you could not even explain what hurt so deeply. You told yourself others had it worse, that you should be grateful, that you should stop feeling this way. But I never dismissed your pain the way you did. I never compared your wounds to anyone else's. Pain does not need permission to be real, and yours was real to me from the very beginning. I stayed close while you cried quietly into pillows, into steering wheels, into moments of silence that felt too heavy to breathe through. I did not rush you. I did not turn away. I stayed. I heard the prayers you whispered only once because you were afraid to hope again. I heard the prayers you repeated so often they became routine, not because you lacked faith, but because you were afraid that if you stopped asking, everything would fall apart. I heard the prayers you could not finish because your voice tightened and your thoughts scattered. I even heard the prayers you never spoke, the ones that stayed locked inside your chest as questions, fears, and longings you did not know how to bring into words. Silence does not block me. Confusion does not confuse me. I understand you even when you do not understand yourself. You have been tired in ways that sleep could not fix. You rested your body, but your mind kept running. You closed your eyes, but your thoughts kept circling the same worries, the same regrets, the same unanswered questions. You woke up already weary, carrying yesterday into today, wondering how long you could keep doing this without breaking. I saw that exhaustion. I saw how you pushed yourself to keep going because stopping felt dangerous, because you feared what you might feel if you slowed down too much. I did not judge you for that. I understood your survival. I understood why you did what you had to do to make it through. There were moments you felt numb, when you could not feel joy the way you used to, when even sadness felt distant, like everything was muted. You wondered if something was wrong with you, if you were losing your faith, if your heart was growing cold. But hear me now. Numbness is not absence of faith. It is often the result of carrying too much for too long. Your spirit was not dead. It was tired. And I stayed with you even then, when you could not feel me, when prayer felt empty, when words felt flat and worship felt far away. My presence does not depend on your emotions. I do not leave because you feel dry. Comment my heart bows before you, Father, and surrender if you live to worship Him. I was there in your confusion, when nothing seemed clear and every choice felt heavy. I saw you stand at crossroads that no one else noticed, making decisions that shaped your future while feeling unsure and alone. I saw how you questioned yourself afterward, replaying moments, wondering if you chose wrong, wondering if you missed something important. I was not shaking my head at you. I was walking with you, even when your steps felt uncertain. You were never walking alone, even when you felt like you were guessing your way forward. I watched you endure disappointment quietly, telling yourself not to make a big deal out of it, telling yourself to move on. But disappointment does not disappear just because you ignore it. It settles. It layers. It weighs down the heart. I saw how it changed the way you expected things to turn out. I saw how it taught you to brace yourself instead of hope freely. I never blamed you for that. I understood why you became careful with your expectations. But even in your guardedness, I stayed near, patient, waiting for the moment when your heart would feel safe enough to open again. Nothing you went through was missed. Nothing you felt was ignored. Nothing you carried was forgotten. There were times you thought I was silent, that I had stepped back, that I was distant. But silence does not mean absence. Sometimes silence is closeness so deep that it does not need words. I was with you in the quiet, steady, unchanging, even when you felt disconnected. You measured my presence by what you felt. I measured it by my faithfulness, and my faithfulness never wavered. I was present when you felt spiritually dry, when prayer felt like effort instead of connection. I was present when reading or listening felt like obligation instead of nourishment. I was present when you wondered if you were drifting, if you were failing me, if something in you had changed for the worse. I did not withdraw because you struggled. I leaned in closer. I am not fragile. Your questions do not scare me. Your dryness does not repel me. I am not offended by your humanity. I watched you grow in ways you did not notice, because growth often happens underground. You were becoming stronger, not harder. You were becoming wiser, not colder. You were going to listen, going to sit there, so that is wrong for me. Even when you felt stuck, something in you was forming. Even when you felt like nothing was happening, I was working quietly, shaping depth where surface answers used to satisfy you. You were never forgotten in the crowd of the world. You were never overlooked while others were blessed. Comparison lied to you more than once, telling you that you were behind, that others were moving faster, that you had somehow missed your moment. But I was not racing you against anyone else. I was walking with you at the pace your heart could handle. Your journey has always been personal to me. I do not mass-produce purpose. I do not rush formation. I saw you hold yourself together for others when you felt like falling apart inside. I saw you show up when you wanted to hide. I saw you give when you felt empty. And I saw the cost of that generosity, the quiet depletion that followed. I am not asking you to keep carrying everything on your own. I never was. I am telling you now because I have always known. You were never meant to survive by sheer endurance. You were meant to live by connection. I have been watching you longer than you know, and I have not been disappointed. I have not been distant. I have not been unaware. I have been present in every season, especially the ones you thought did not matter because they felt small, painful, or uneventful. Those were the seasons where trust was being built, where depth was forming, where your heart was learning to listen beyond noise. You are not weak for being tired. You are not faithless for feeling dry. You are not broken because you question. You are human, and you are deeply known. And I am still here, closer than you realize, just as I have always been. I know you have asked me this question more times than you can count. You asked it quietly and you asked it out loud. You asked it with hope and you asked it with frustration. You asked it when you were calm, and you asked it when you were tired of being patient. You asked, "Why is this taking so long?" You asked, "What am I missing?" You asked, "Did I do something wrong?" And sometimes you did not even ask anymore, because the waiting itself began to feel heavier than the question. I want you to hear me clearly now. It did not take so long because I was slow. It took so long because I was careful. Waiting was never rejection. It only felt like rejection because you could not see what was happening beneath the surface. You measured progress by visible change, by movement you could point to, by answers you could explain to yourself or to others. I was measuring something else entirely. I was watching your heart. I was watching your trust. I was watching what you would cling to when nothing seemed to move. And I was shaping you in ways that could not happen quickly without costing you something far greater later. You felt overlooked at times. You watched others move ahead, receive what you were praying for, step into things you thought you were ready for too. You tried not to compare, but comparison crept in quietly anyway. It whispered that you were behind, that you were less favored, that you had missed your turn. Those thoughts hurt more than you admitted. But I never overlooked you. I never confused your path with anyone else's. I never delayed because I forgot you were waiting. I delayed because I knew exactly what you were carrying and what you were not yet ready to carry. There were things you asked for that were good, but they were heavy. They required strength you were still building, clarity you were still learning, and discernment you had not yet needed. If I had given them to you earlier, they would have overwhelmed you instead of blessing you. I was not withholding to test you. I was protecting you. Protection often looks like silence when you do not yet see the danger of moving too fast. You grew frustrated, and I did not shame you for that. You grew impatient, and I did not withdraw because of it. Impatience does not surprise me. It only reveals that your heart is still alive, still longing, still hoping for more. What I was doing during that waiting was teaching you to sit with uncertainty without losing yourself. I was teaching you to listen more deeply, to feel more honestly, to recognize my voice even when it was not loud. You thought nothing was happening, but something was always happening. I was removing things quietly that would have hurt you later. I was closing doors gently that would have trapped you. I was slowing you down when rushing would have taken you into places you were not meant to stay. You did not see those near misses. You did not feel the weight of what did not happen. But I did. And I guarded you without announcing it. While you waited, you learned how to endure without becoming bitter. You learned how to hope without demanding. You learned how to question without walking away. These lessons did not feel like progress, but they were forming depth in you that cannot be rushed. Depth is built in stillness, not speed. Character is shaped when answers are delayed, not when everything is easy. You are also being aligned with people, moments, and opportunities that required precise timing. If you arrived too early, you would have been misunderstood or misplaced. If you arrived too late, you would have missed the connection entirely. Timing is not about delay or speed. It is about fit. And I was fitting things together in ways you could not see yet. There were seasons when I asked you to wait simply because you needed rest, even if you did not recognize it as rest. Your soul needed space to breathe. Your heart needed healing you did not yet know you needed. You were still recovering from disappointments you told yourself you were over. I let the waiting create room for that healing to finish its work. Rushing would have buried wounds instead of healing them. You were not idle during this time. Even when it felt like you were standing still, you were becoming someone different. You were shedding old expectations, old definitions of success, old ways of measuring your worth. You were learning that your value does not come from movement or achievement alone. That lesson matters more than you realize, because what is coming will challenge your sense of identity if it is not rooted deeply enough. I know you wondered if your prayers were getting weaker because you stopped asking with the same intensity. But that was not weakness. That was trust learning to rest. I know you worried that your faith was shrinking because you stopped feeling emotional highs. But faith is not proven by constant feeling. It is proven by staying when feeling fades. And you stayed. You were also being protected from taking on someone else's expectations for your life. There were voices around you, even well-meaning ones, that would have shaped you into something that looked successful but felt empty. Waiting gave you space to hear me more clearly than them. It gave you room to ask yourself what you truly wanted, not just what others admired. Nothing about your waiting was wasted. Not the days you felt bored. Not the nights you felt restless. Not the moments you questioned me. I used all of it. I used the slowness to strengthen you. I used the uncertainty to soften you. I used the frustration to refine what really mattered to you. You were never being punished by delay. You were being prepared by it. Prepared to recognize what is truly from me. Prepared to carry blessing without losing yourself. Prepared to step into what is coming without fear controlling your choices. Prepared to trust me even when the path unfolds one step at a time. I know it felt like nothing was happening, but the most important things were happening inside you, quietly, steadily, faithfully. And now you are here. That alone tells you the waiting worked. You did not quit. You did not harden completely. You did not walk away. You arrived. This moment could not have happened earlier without costing you something essential. It is happening now because now you are ready in ways you were not before. The delay was not about pushing you back. It was about bringing you forward with strength, clarity, and protection. You were never overlooked. You were being prepared. And now the waiting has done its work. The weight you have been carrying was never meant to rest on your shoulders. I know you learned how to carry it slowly, piece by piece, until it felt normal to wake up heavy and go to sleep heavier. You told yourself this is just how life is. You told yourself that strength means holding everything together, that responsibility means not letting anything fall apart, even if it costs you rest, peace, or joy. But hear me now, gently and clearly. I never asked you to carry all of this alone. I never placed that burden in your hands. You picked it up because you thought you had to, because no one else seemed to be holding it with you. You became self-reliant not because you were proud, but because you were tired of being disappointed. You learned to depend on yourself because you did not want to burden others, because you were afraid of being let down, because you were afraid that if you stopped holding everything, everything would collapse. I understand why you became this way. I am not scolding you. I am speaking to you with compassion. Survival taught you habits that were useful once, but they are hurting you now. You have been enduring quietly. You rarely complain. You rarely ask for help. You tell yourself others need support more than you do. You push through exhaustion because you believe stopping means failing. But endurance without rest slowly drains the soul. You have been strong for so long that you forgot strength was never meant to look like constant strain. Strength was always meant to include trust. You are burned out in ways you do not always admit. Your body feels tired even when you sleep. Your mind keeps running even when you try to rest. Your emotions feel stretched thin, like they are one small moment away from spilling over. You feel responsible for outcomes you cannot control. You replay conversations, decisions, and possibilities, trying to fix things in your head that were never yours to fix. That constant tension is not for me. I see how you hold yourself together in front of others and fall apart in private. I see how you keep showing up even when your inner reserves are empty. I see how you have normalized stress, fatigue, and pressure because slowing down feels unsafe. But you were not created to live in survival mode. You were created to live in relationship, in rest, in trust. Let me say this clearly. You do not earn my approval by exhausting yourself. You do not prove your worth by carrying everything alone. You do not secure your future by worrying it into place. I am not impressed by your burnout. I am concerned by it. Not because you failed, but because you have been trying to do my part for me. Type Father, you light my path if he has guided you when you were lost, and share this video.